Welcome, Tom, to Metallium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Sinner, this new album, Brotherhood, and more things relating to the metal world. Starting with a question: How have you been during these crazy times? Because we started a pandemic 2 years ago. Now we are living in a war in Europe. So, and perhaps who knows what happened next couple of years? Alien invasion, the machines takes the power, or who knows, zombie apocalypse, because we are living crazy times now.
Yeah, we are really living in crazy times. All the pollution in the world and all the war, like the wars in Ukraine, is not that far away from Germany. So we are a little bit afraid that maybe it could start a World War III, which would be the end of the world. So I hope for the best and that all the guys who are in responsible positions will stay there with a clean head and make the right decisions. But I also hope that the pandemic will not start all over. So I hope it will be like low, and I hope we can go back to the life we had like 3 years ago, where everybody was free and everybody was happy or sort of happy, and we go back on tour and play everywhere, and then people were happy and they could go out on Saturday and Sunday and enjoy life. So I hope that will happen again.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, talking about from this new album, you released the last album, Santa Muerte, in 2019, and now you are releasing the Brotherhood album. So this new album is a continuation for the last one, perhaps with, or this new album was composed during this pandemic, recorded during this pandemic, etc., etc.
So it's like, okay, Santa Muerte was musically different than the new one, because I had a talk with Matt in, I think it was September, October in 2020, and we discussed the musical direction of the new album, and then we decided that we go way back to our history, or in our history, in the 90s, where we released albums like Bottom Line, Judgment Day, and Nature of Evil. So we really tried to bring the vibe and the spirit of those albums and transport it to 2022. And that was the main thing. But we have like this cover stuff, which is more like a trilogy. Like we had it on Tequila Suicide, we had it on Santa Muerte, now we have it on Brotherhood. And in Brotherhood, we had it because we thought that we changed the music style a little bit. We went a little bit heavier, but if we would change the cover as well, so probably it would not be a really good move. So we wanted to have a link between the old albums and the new one.
Okay. So now, if we speak about the whole discography of the band, now the band has 20 albums. That's amazing for more than 40 years of existence. So how was the road since the beginning to now, and how do you avoid to repeat yourself along 20 albums? Because the last album is very fresh, keeping the flame of the heavy metal stuff from the 80s and 90s. Because as you can see, a lot of the platforms, a lot of the digital platforms, a lot of bands now releasing the heavy metal stuff, but with your influence. So how do you see now this big scene, the heavy metal, and how do you preserve the sound of Sinner fresh?
So first of all, it's a pleasure, and we feel very honored that we have the possibility to release 18 or 20 albums, and we are still in the business for 40 years right now. This means it's a really long time, and we have like a number of fans that still are supporting us, which is really helpful, and we are really thankful for that. And yeah, when it comes to writing an album, it's like you write songs in a special period of time, and then you are influenced by everything that happens around you. And sometimes it's like a more positive vibe, and maybe sometimes it's a more negative vibe. And yeah, I just try to sit down and write songs. And as we decided that we would go in a more heavier direction, it was pretty simple. So I went back home from Matt's house. I had a small studio, and I sat down and picked up my guitar and I started to play the first riff, just like fooling around with something, going, oh, that sounds nice. So I press record, and then I record the riff, and I programmed just a small drum stuff, so like a beat or rhythm. And then I did send it to Matt. I go like, hey, what do you think about that? He goes like, yeah, that's fucking great. This should be the direction we should go on. And yeah, then we were really in a productive and creative mood. And Matt and I, we wrote like 9 songs in 2 months, which was really, really cool and really fast. And we had a lot of time of arranging the songs, and we changed some stuff here and there, and it was really cool and a productive time.
Mhm. Okay. So I've been seeing that Sinner never. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I tried to find some gigs here in Latin America, especially in South America. So with Sinner, and I never seen a completely gig or complete full tour here. So what are the reasons? Because Sinner never came here to Latin America or perhaps South America.
I'm not sure if Sinner never played there, because there were a time where I was not in Sinner, and maybe that it could be that Sinner and Primal Fear together went on tour. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I would love to go to South America with Sinner. I already played a couple of festivals, and we did some touring in South America together with Primal Fear, and which was a blast because South America fans are amazing. It's really cool to see them having fun on the show and banging their heads and singing along to the songs. It's, for us, it's really a pleasure to play in South America. But I would also love to go there with Sinner, but maybe the local promoters are not really interested in it, or it doesn't make any financial, how can I say it? Yeah, maybe it's not possible to it because of the financial side of the stuff, because it needs a lot of travel and it costs a lot of money, and maybe the local promoters are afraid that they will lose money, and that's why we will not play in South America. But maybe we could change it when we do a tour together with Primal Fear. Then Matt and I are already in Primal Fear, and then we can bring the rest of the guys from Sinner as well to South America. It would be great.
Now you have a lot of experience recording albums, releasing albums, playing a lot of gigs, tours, etc. And how do you see now the scene of heavy metal? Because for me, it's all too saturated. A lot of bands repeating your formula from Sinner, from the classic bands from the 80s especially. So how do you see now the heavy metal or traditional heavy metal stuff now? Is the same like the old days, or perhaps is you don't have time to hear new bands now?
Yeah, but like when you're in the business for so long, so that there are like trends coming and going, and there was like in the 90s, there were like, or in the 80s, there was like this long hair metal bands, and we did our stuff, and then there came grunge, and then all of a sudden the rock music scene completely changed. And yeah, that was a tough time for all those hair metal bands, but we still were standing strong. We released album after album, like more heavy albums than ever before. And then we founded Primal Fear in 1997 in the middle of the grunge scene. And lucky for us, like three months before that, I guess, Hammerfall released an album and brought power metal, true metal back on the radar, and then re-released our album with Primal Fear, and all of a sudden we became successful all over the world. And yeah, and this kind of music still exists because it's not really a trend, it's more like a lifestyle. I think there are a lot of bands still around from the 80s, from the 90s. I think last week I saw Iron Maiden, which are around for probably more than 40 years. I saw Judas Priest, which are longer, like 50 years on the road right now. We have bands like Hammerfall, we have Sabaton, we have Halloween. We have a lot of bands. And yeah, I think this metal scene and community is still going strong. And there are a lot of fans all over the world. And there are really a lot of really good and creative and productive bands out there all over the world. So I think that it's a really healthy situation for this kind of metal scene, because it's, as I told, it's more like a lifestyle, not like a music scene that comes and goes after a couple of months.
Okay, because great. So talking about about this new album, one thing that you said is about the grunge style, this kind of stuff. But for me, when I hear for the first time, well, more than four or five times this new album to do the review. So one thing that I did note about your music is that you expand the sound with some grunge elements in some parts, alternative elements in this music. But for me, it's good because you put in your music a lot of fresh bites into it. That's amazing. That's why I love this new album, because that is your music, because but with a lot of elements into there and it still sound heavy metal. But the curious thing, if we compare your especially this brotherhood compared to the new bands with the old, well, the new bands, new people, these guys are, they try to do the music like the Wild and Evil, like the Fast Decision from Sinner. That's a curious thing. And usually the old bands like you are trying to push the passion, or the press the limits without a lot of new backgrounds. But the new bands is very weird. The new bands are trying to copy the sound from you from the 80s. That's very there's very so curious.
Yeah, I've heard like some bands, and they're sounding like the sound is like more back in the 80s. Maybe that's the new way of recording. I don't know. So, but our goal was like to make it sound like it's fresh and it's new and it's more. I think it's still metal, but I think it's more. It sounds like more positive and more and happy. And we have like also the lyrics are more positive, more positive. Yeah, it's like more positive lyrics. So, okay, they sound like The Man They Couldn't Hang or Last Generation or Refuse to Surrender, but it's all over. It's like more positive. Like for us, it's like helping each other, being there for each other, like surviving, not giving up, always refuse to surrender, stand up and go for it, think positive and stay positive. That was the main aim of the album. And as we started to write the album, we were in the middle of the pandemic. So a lot of people in our community, our friendship, our social community, they had a lot of problems because they are musicians and they live from playing live. And all of a sudden, they did not earn any money. So we decided we go into the studio, we will try to help them. Like we went into the studio of our tour manager and live mixing guy, Basi Röder. So we booked his studio, which we normally not do, booked his small little studio and recorded the drums there. And we recorded some guitars there. So he earned some money. So we went to Jakob Hansen, who mixed a lot of albums for Prime Fear and Sinner already. So we tried to give him the chance to mix the album. So he made some money. We asked Oliver Palotai, a good friend from the band Camelot, and he lives like 25 kilometers away from my hometown. And so I asked Ollie, do you have time and do you want to participate on the album? So please play some stuff on it and we will give you money for that. And so we really tried to help each other in these really tough and hard times. And that's why there's the reason why we call this album also Brotherhood. As also, like we had a lot of guest singers, and Ralph, the singer of Prime Fear, he edited the vocals, and I had a friend in Switzerland who did the editing on the drums and on the guitar. So we tried to really share the work, and everybody could earn some money. So we were really happy to have friends like that who we could help.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was the main thing. And I think that's because it sounds so fresh, because we have a lot of influences from different guys, and we were like positive and we wanted to help. And yeah, but we never thought that we should sound like the new bands. They are sounding like recorded everything in the 80s. So we just wanted to have a new, fresh and more modern sound.
Okay, so into this new album, which one's for you the best one to represent whole concert from Brotherhood, and especially to play live?
That's a tough question, because like when you record an album and like, okay, you listen to the songs 1,000 times before the album got released. So, but it's like a new baby, you know, you love every song, and it would not be fair to pick out a special one. But sometimes like you wake up on Monday and you're like, oh, I love The Last Generation. Then on Tuesday morning, you wake up and said, I think Bulletproof is a great song, or Brotherhood is a great song, or I Love My Scars, or The Man You Couldn't Hang. So it changes. It also depends on my mood, which kind of songs I like most. But if I would pick out 3 songs for the album that really says everything about it, would be like Brotherhood, Bulletproof, and Last Generation. I think that would be my 3 choices. That does not mean that the rest of the album is not good, but I think that's those 3 songs sums it all up, what the album is all about.
Okay, so talking about again from the about the whole discography of the band. So usually for the fans, when especially for the band, when the band released the new album, the band thinks that this new album is the great one, is like a cliche, is the best one to the date for the band. But a counterproductive thing is that the fans thinks differently. They think that the first 3 or the first 2 or the first 5 are the best one into the career for the singer, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, etc. So for you, this new album are the best one to the date, or perhaps are like a cliche of a lot of bands say that,
Yeah,
or perhaps do you have a preferred one? A preferred one is not Brotherhood, it's not Wild and Evil. Perhaps it's Respect, perhaps it's Bottom Line, it's Judgment Day. Who knows? Perhaps you have a preferred one compared to for the opinions for the fans, and usually the cliche of the best one is the last one.
Yeah. So in my opinion, it's like I have a lot of respect, and I'm totally proud of the release of the new album, because we created something very special for us. There was a lot of hard sweat and tears on this album. It was a hard work, and so we're proud of it, and it's our new baby. So right now, I would say it's a great album. I wouldn't say it will be the best album, because we already did so many good albums. So, but I think that it need to be hidden between from other songs or albums like Nature of Evil, Bottom Line, Judgment Day, even Dangerous Charm or Coming Out Fighting were great albums. Touch of Sin was a great album. So I wouldn't say that it will be the best, maybe, or it will be not the best. So I think the fans had to decide what they think about it. We just wrote songs and we recorded it, and we are pretty goddamn proud of it that it will be released on Friday, and hopefully the fans will love it.
Okay, well, okay, with 20 albums in your career, for me, if I am in the band, for me, it is difficult to select a set list with all songs, trying to include all generations, all albums from the band. So how do you do this effort? Because 20 albums, more than 10 per 20, more than 200 songs. It's not the EPs, not so. You have more than 500 songs. So how do you select the set list for a new gig or new tour and from Sinner?
So yeah, when you go on tour, normally you go on tour to present your new album. That means you play a lot of new stuff, like 4 or 5 songs of the new album. And then we have like a best of set list, or like songs that we played all over our career, Knife in My Heart, Germany Rocks, a lot of classics. We still play Rebel Yell. And then we start to pick out some special songs that we didn't play for a long time. And so we hope that it's fun for the audience to hear new stuff, the regular stuff that wanted the fans to be heard. And then we pick out some special jewels that we normally did not play very often. So to have just a mixture of everything. And that is also a thing that keeps the band alive, because it would be really boring to play the same set list for years and years and years, only adding new songs and then play the rest of the old songs. So we're really happy that we have the possibility to choose between, I don't know, 200 songs, 400 songs, I don't know. But it's good to have the decision and it's always fun to play new songs that maybe one of those fans never heard live before. So
Okay.
it could be a surprise for the audience as well. You'd be like, oh, I never heard this song before. What a great song. Yeah. But it's that's normally we like to do, like playing stuff from the new album because you need to present it. Then we play the classics, and then we fill in with some jewels that we not played so often.
Okay. Oh, you're a band that releasing a lot of albums, as I said, 20 albums in your career. And for you, how do you see the trend and now the old bands playing the great album from the past for them? As you can see, a lot of bands doing this kind of trend or playing just in whole entire album, the special ones, all this the best albums from them, and they are touring with the best albums from them. So if you have the opportunity to select one album to do a whole gig in Europe or in US, which album will be from Sinner?
That's a tough one. Oh, because there are so many albums that I really love, because I love Touch of Sin, I love Coming Out Fighting, I love Nature of Evil, I love End of Sanctuary, I love Brotherhood. So it would not be really fair, and I hope I will never have to make this decision which album we should play totally on one show, because it's really tough to choose one, because there are really some really good albums in the whole career and history of Sinner. So it would not be fair, because like Touch of Sin is a classic album. Yeah. Coming Out Fighting was a classic album. Nature of Evil was really good. Bottom Line was also good. So yeah, but maybe I would say, like right now, because I not played one song from the new album live. So probably it would be fun to play the whole album live, because we never played one song from it so far.
Okay, so are you agree to do this? Because in some parts now the bands are doing this because there's more economic plays, more incomings with it, a full album playing in a lot of gigs. So are you agree with to do this kind of stuff, to play a whole, perhaps to Touch of the Sin and whole complete set list for this stuff?
No, I don't think so. To be honest, I think that we will just try to pick out the best pieces of every album. So like we play Born to Rock from the Touch of Sin album, we play Hypnotized from the Coming Out Fighting album, we play Question of Honor sometimes, and yeah, I can't remember the set list from the last time we played, but there's Germany Rocks is in it, Lost in a Minute was in it, Rebel, yeah, was in it, like really old stuff. And yeah, I can't remember the set list, but we always try to pick out the best songs in our opinion and to present them live. So I don't think that we will do this to play only one album from a special period. I think it's, if you have the possibility to have like a history of 40 years, why not playing songs from 1984 till 2022?
Okay. As I said in the first question, we will talk now, we are very close to end this interview. We will talk about other things into the music and metal world. So how do you see now the digital platforms, the digital plan, Spotify, Tidal, etc., so this kind of stuff? Is good or is bad for the music? Because you, as I said, you have for more than 40 years of career with Sinner, so you see a lot of changes into the music industry. Yes. So how do you see the download, the digital platform, is good or bad for the music? Because with this stuff, as you can see now, the new generation prefer to hear the music with one single, two singles, three singles, and not the entire album.
Yeah. So the thing is, when I was young, like way years ago, there was only vinyl. So if you wanted to have an album, you need to go to a store and you bought the album. And all of a sudden you have the possibility to record the vinyl on a tape cassette. And then you could multiply the tape cassette, and one guy bought an album and 15 guys had the album as well on a cassette. Then there was the CD. We would go, okay, CD is fine. And then there was MP3, and then as the internet started, like I remember we released an album and it was on the internet 4 weeks before release. So that was really bad for us because everybody just took the songs and then you don't sell any more albums with that. So that was a pity. And like, I remember when Metallica was totally against Napster.
Yeah.
And everybody started to destroy Metallica albums because of that. And in the end, I have to admit, they were right, because if I have take a platform like, I don't know, I can Spotify or whatever, or Deezer. So you take one of those platforms and their members are paying like, I don't know, maybe between 10 and 15 euros a month to listen to music, then probably he will make a shitload of money because he takes stuff that does not even belong to him. He's just taking our ideas and our brains when we are creating music. And then someone puts it on a platform and the members can listen to it. And the guy who wrote all the stuff, they got paid like 0.00004 euro, which is really nothing, not much. So if you check the social media, the platforms, and you can see you need like 1 million streams to earn 3,000 euro. How can you survive with 3,000 euro when you bring out an album every 2 years? So everything changed so far, because in former times you made an album, then you went on tour to promote the album. Nowadays, you record an album to have the possibility to go on tour, to make some money with touring, like selling merchandise or whatever, because you will not survive with selling MP3 streams.
Yeah.
And that's a pity, because a lot of bands has financial problems, and because of I will not say that the fans are the ones who are bad, but if you have a favorite band, go and buy the album. It will help the band, it will help the labels. If you just stream it, then no one will survive, and all the bands will disappear sooner or later. So that is what changed the most.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, Tom, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did, and
Yes.
really appreciate for your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you. A really amazing guy. Your last album is a killer one, as usually. Sinner has their sound into there. So perhaps you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metallerium followers.
Yeah, thank you for listening to our new stuff, and for supporting us all over the years. Stay safe, stay sane, and celebrate life. And we all hope to see you real soon on tour. Take care.